Oh, great. Thanks, Eddie. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. This is our fourth, I think, Doxy.me research grand rounds. We're today, Hiral Soni is going to be talking about virtual conversational aids versus online forms and patient preferences for health data collection. So thanks again for coming, and I'll turn it over to Hiral.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you again, everyone, for coming. So today I'm just going to talk about some of the results from a study we did last year. So just to get started, a little bit of background, which we covered last month, so I'll quickly go over it. So as we know, current health data collection approaches are burdensome and costly. And when it comes to, when I mean health data collection, I mean clinical assessments, intake forms, different types of consents that patients need to fill out before seeing their doctor. So the common methods today are either paper-based forms, which are tedious and verbose, and even online forms, but often interfaces are not that intuitive or engaging. One of the methods that could really help data collection is just a provider or a researcher, directly talking to patients and collecting their data. So that might make patients feel more comfortable and help collect high quality data, but that is often costly and burdensome on providers as well as patients. So one solution that we talked about last month that can reduce the challenges of online verbose forms was, as well as provide patients the same experience as talking to a provider or a researcher, talking to a person for health data collection, is Talkbot. Talkbot is a conversational agent which automates patient data collection mimicking a natural language conversational text-based approach. It's proven to be giving quality patient data. It's easy to use. It's quick to implement. There isn't no need for a big IT team or an infrastructure, as well as it is secure. It is HIPAA compliant. But how Talkbot performs in comparison to those online forms and paper forms, it was still unknown. So we really wanted to study how how patients would like to complete healthcare assessments in comparison with those conventional methods. So right now we have a phase 1 small business technology transfer grant from the National Library of Medicine. It started in September 2020. It ends this August, so next month coming soon. And as a part of this project, one of our aim was to assess patient experience of Talkbot in comparison with online forms. We did the study in May and June of last year, and I'm going to be talking about some of the findings today. So basically, our goal was to compare patient data capture experience of chatbots, that is Talkbot, in comparison with online forms. And we compared the two tools we compared here is obviously Talkbot versus a platform called Redcap, which is basically a widely used platform in clinical research and healthcare data collection. It is secure. It is a secure HIPAA compliant platform and widely used across the world. So considering it as it is often considered a gold standard. So we compared Talkbot with the gold standard for this study. And we also wanted to overall understand what is users' experience with Talkbot and what are their preferences, likes, dislikes about Talkbot. So with these two goals, we conducted a randomized within subject study. What that basically means is participants were assigned into 2 different groups to complete the same assessment. And the assessment we used here was called PREPARE, the protocol for responding to and assessing patient assets, risks, and experiences. It's a standard determinants of health assessment, so it is generally applicable to a larger population. And it is a moderate length assessment. 21 questions, and there are a variety of response types, for example, text input or button choices, multiple choices. So we wanted to try all different things with this assessment. So how the assessment started was we received patient consent to participate in the study. Then they filled out a questionnaire talking about their demographics, age, race, gender, etc. And we asked them about their online survey taking experience. How often do they fill out forms online? How do they generally fill out on mobile, or like what type of devices they use, etc. And then participants were randomly grouped into taking either Redcap-based assessment first or Talkbot-based assessment first. And this process was done automatically using a tool called UX Evaluator, which we have internally developed at Doxy.me. So participants were either assigned to group A or B. They took the prepared assessment using Redcap. And then we measured their experience with Redcap. So if you see in group A, they take the assessment, then we use two measures, the system usability scale to measure tool usability, as well as NPS, the Net Promoter Score, to measure the likelihood to recommend this tool as a survey tool. So after that was done, they took the same assessment using Talkbot, and then we again measured the SAS and NPS for Talkbot. Similarly, if participants were assigned group B, they took the assessment using Talkbot first, then usability questionnaires, then they took the same assessment using Redcap and the usability questionnaires. At the end of the survey, they were presented with a post-test survey, which basically asked them which tool they like better. It was either Redcap or Talkbot. We asked them about their likes and dislike of both tools. So what did they like, dislike about Talkbot, and same for Redcap, as well as we asked for any enhancement suggestions for the tool. So the goal was to do the study online because we wanted to do a large-scale study to include 400 participants, which would be representative for a US population, adult population. So we used the Amazon Mechanical Turk platform. Amazon Mechanical Turk is widely used crowdsourcing platforms for research studies these days, especially with COVID. Its use has been increasing. But we knew about some type of data quality issues in using these type of platforms. So we started small based on some other research. With the goal of recruiting 400 participants, we just started with 20 participants first, and like the data quality looked good. So we went ahead and recruited 50 participants. And it overall looked good. If there were some issues, we rejected those participants and recruited more participants. So overall, the data was acceptable. So we went ahead and, tried to recruit 330 remaining participants, but it was honestly a big issue. There were big issues with data quality and potential bot responses, a lot of careless responses that we figured out. So overall, the data quality was very poor. What we tried to do is, we went through all the responses. We rejected about 200 of the poor responses overall. And this was done iteratively, so we maybe rejected 100 responses first, tried to get 100 more participants, but didn't work out, so we got more participants, etc. So we overall recruited 200 participants and got new participants, but at the end, we didn't see a lot of improvement in the data quality. And as I said, previous researchers have observed similar patterns where, initial data collection is good, but when you go for the third time or the fourth time, this data quality started declining. So we know, okay, this is an issue, but at the end, the goal was to salvage the efforts and the data we received, and making sure that how can we preserve the integrity of the data. So based on previous research, we came up with a systematic exclusion criteria, one of which was basically removing any acquiescence bias in a system usability scale. So system usability scale is designed in such a way that it has positively and negatively worded statements consecutively. So usually, the answers cannot be, all positives or all negatives. So in this way, as well as a previous research says, if participants agree or disagree to at least 8 or more items, they should be automatically removed. There is some type of response bias. So we checked for acquiescence bias, and we immediately removed 50 responses. And then we looked at the quality, other responses for these responses, and the quality was very poor. So if you see like all 10 such items, this response says, oh, like agree. There is only one strongly agree response, but that is also positive. And like all of them are agree. Ideally, it should not be like that. Responses should be on extreme corners. So this helped us remove some poor data. And the next step we followed was we looked at all the qualitative comments with respect to Talkbot likes and dislikes, Redcap likes and dislikes, as well as suggestions. And again, based on previous research, previous literature, we came up with 4 different criteria to exclude responses. For example, one of the common criteria was, unusual comments. Often it's things like nice, good, none, no, these type of things. Often things written in capital letters, like single words that do not align with question. For example, like what do you like or dislike about the Redcap, and participants said, well, things like that. So overall, that helped us remove 66 responses. Nonsensical statements. For example, if you see here, like, try using words that might appear on a page, or like, for example, cake recipes, or how to make a cake. Things like that. So that helped us remove 49 responses, reputations from website or internet. So if you see the third examples, like all this data is captured directly from Talkbot's website, or some kind of interviews, online media presence of Talkbot and Redcap. So that helped us remove about 14 responses, as well as duplicates. Often empiric workers, they finish a study and they maybe have multiple accounts, or in some way they can do the study again. If you see, these are comments from 2 participants. They had all the demographics same. These are 2 different responses. They had all the demographics same, and if you see, all of their comments are same. So overall, it helped us remove 4 responses. So after this, out of the 391 complete responses we had, we were just left with 208 potential good quality data responses. So we included that in our final sample for analysis. Overall, our participants were 72% white, 18% Black or African American, and rest about 10% other races. 58% female, 42% male participants. Most of the participants, majority were between 31 to 40, and then between 21 to 30. And education, about 70% had at least college education, so that includes a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, and about 22% had either high school or some college or associate's degree education. If we look at the quantitative findings, we're talking about tool preference. What do they like, Talkbot or Redcap? 144, like about 70% said they like Talkbot compared to Redcap. And there were significant differences in here. System usability score, it is generally scored between a 0 to 100, and Talkbot's system usability score was 70.7 versus Redcap was 67.6. So there was not a huge difference overall, but overall there were differences in participants' thinking. There were significant differences in participants' thinking, means they rated a Talkbot, and overall they rated Talkbot and Redcap quite differently. The net promoter score, Talkbot was 24 versus Redcap was almost half, 13, but they were both positive, as well as there were significant differences among that. if you see mean completion time, Talkbot took significantly longer to complete assessments, 247 seconds versus Redcap took 167 seconds. Again, there were that is one of the things, and that is what we hypothesized, that Talkbot will take longer compared to based on its structure. But overall, Talkbot outperformed Redcap. If we look at the advantages of Talkbot, most participants perceive Talkbot as conversational, very natural, like talking to a human, interactive, intuitive, and easy to use. So these were commonly used phrases for Talkbot. So it's like I did like the way it was designed and had a feeling that I was talking to a real human. So a lot of comments were like that. I like how it seemed as we were progressing through questions without having me to click things. And I did not like anything about Talkbot. So also the participants thought the interface was modern and easy to navigate. They admired that they didn't need to scroll through the survey questionnaire. They liked how most of the participants liked how the presentation of information was and the systematic flow, one by one questions. And there's less, so they thought there's less chances of skipping a response and just focus on the question they're presented with. For example, a participant said it was easier to fill out without having to worry about accidentally missing a question or skipping a question. But some of the challenges we found out about were some of the participants had like small display presented large amount of information. So it kind of felt a little and also participants thought like chat-based responses are a little informal. For healthcare data assessments, for example, like if you see like the screen felt small, and this is most of the participants took study on a laptop or a desktop device, but still, we replicate a mobile type of interface. We have a mobile first interface for Talkbot, and we replicate that on a desktop. So it still looks like you're doing a study on a mobile phone. So it felt a little informal using a chat-based agent for healthcare. It felt time-consuming, but very little, about only 10% of participants said that Talkbot was time-consuming. And also they expressed privacy concern, potentially because they didn't feel secure, with a tool, like a third-party tool such as Talkbot. As well as this assessment asked them about their address. We gave participants a fake address and we informed them that just to protect your privacy, please only use the fake address, do not provide their real address. But still, a lot of we ended up with participants who provided their real address. So that could be one of the causes for concern. When it comes to Redcap, the interface was overall less favorable. Often participants said it's old school or traditional or like a normal form. But some participants said it was simple, straightforward, like they felt it was formal. And participants often preferred it. When they preferred it, they often preferred it because they are just used to this platform. It was quick, but also less engaging. So it was like, it felt it was a bit faster. However, it felt it was less personable than Talkbot. They didn't like the design. Often they talked about the formatting, layout, size of response areas, for example, the button choice questions, the circles to click on, alignment of questions, color scheme, readability of questions. So those were the common themes we identified with respect to Redcap. Overall, to summarize, we know that Talkbot scored higher in both system usability scales, and so in usability assessment as well as in likely to recommend using NPS. Participants found Talkbot as interactive. It received more positive comments. They perceived that Talkbot makes data collection easier and more enjoyable. It did take a longer time than Redcap, but it might not be such a deterrent factor considering the higher engagement with Redcap. Talkbot, for example, a participant said, I think time seems to go faster with Talkbot, so it is their own perception and the mental model that because they're chatting with someone, they felt the time goes faster. It gives you more personal conversation instead of just filling out a basic try survey. Security and privacy concerns were there, but Dogbot is, we can brand it based on providers, themes of their clinics, etc. We can provide them more personal touch based on, different factors from their provider's office and try to make it more personable, as well as I mentioned, that participant, it's a third-party solution, so participant might not know, it is a HIPAA compliant solution. They have never experienced Talkbot. So these concerns can be alleviated with some design changes or just some changes when we develop bots within Talkbot, as well as it just could be due to because we asked address and participants felt like, why do you need to know my address? So those are things. One of the things I also wanted to cover was MTurk data quality issues. I know we have, even other teams have tried to use MTurk for recruitment. If you're using MTurk, you can use thorough screening processes within that to try and get a better quality samples. Maybe like if you still have poor quality data, try to use some type of response validation approaches. For example, how we used the SAS scoring and acquiescence bias within SAS to remove poor quality responses. We use inconsistencies in qualitative responses to remove poor responses. Also, like if there are responses, if there is a survey which should ideally take 3 minutes on average to complete, but participant completed it within 40 seconds, that is clear indicator that, okay, there's something wrong here. Also, like try to include, if you're developing surveys for MTurk, try to include manipulation and attention checks. For example, random questions. For example, ask them what year they were born, and also ask them for their age, what city and state they live in. So these type of random questions, including qualitative questions. For example, you consent the participants and then, or you tell them about the study a little bit and then ask them, oh, what is the study about? Like try to look at qualitative comments in the study. Also use some security measures. A lot of times bots do get passed through CAPTCHA, but trying to use security measures might make it more secure and be important for preserving data quality. As well as there is some research that there are other crowdsourcing platforms such as Prolific.io and Qualtrics panel, as well as SurveyMonkey panel, which have proven to have better data quality. Personally, we have experienced that Prolific had much better data quality compared to Amazon Mechanical Turk. So try to use some of these alternative platforms, and the research team is always there. If you need any help with recruiting with these platforms, we'll be happy to help provide any information you need and set up. So yeah, that was a little bit about MTurk. So I'll just conclude. This research was funded by the National Library of Medicine through our STTR grant, and the findings right now are these findings right now are under review for the Frontiers in Digital Health journal. So I think that's it. I have some references about MTurk as well as our study. So you can look at them, and please feel free to contact us for anything. Yeah. Thank you.
So it looks like we have some questions coming in, and please feel free to post those in the chat, and love to discuss this some more. It's like Skylar had asked, well, he said, I wonder how we could speed up Talkbot. Interested in thoughts on that or ideas on that.
So multiple studies has identified Dogbot does take a little longer. So we might maybe some design changes more because the questions go one by one, and a lot of time, when you have all the questions together, it is not, you have chance of missing, or you're just used to that format. So I think as more participants maybe take assessments and we identify more design changes which could help us to speed up Dogbot, or even in other way, it might, as I said, only 10% participants said that Dogbot felt time consuming, but even if it felt time consuming, they liked it more. So it might not be a challenge at all. But yes, definitely future studies. I'm currently doing a study which compares, so we got these results, but we know that a lot of data quality issues. So what we are doing right now is we are doing a moderated study that compares Talkbot with Redcap and paper forms. And I'm doing this study in person with participants. And that has given us like more qualitative feedback, the ability to follow up with them, and ask more questions from our side after they complete assessments. So I think that those results are going to help us a lot with respect to understanding their preferences better.
I was just thinking, although it may take a little bit longer, it would be cool if we could complement that with accuracy of results. So doing working into some of those studies, some validation type questions, like they're answering normal questions of a questionnaire, then also is the sky blue or something like that, and if they're just like speeding through and they missed that when it's a clear answer.
Yeah.
We could actually do a couple of those and look at accuracy, and then say, yeah, it takes longer, but you're going to get more accurate data.
Absolutely. So that is one of the sub goals of our study. We did, like, so Harry is leading a research on understanding perceptions of older adults with Talkbot, and even like from the study that I'm doing with the in-person study, we have participants number, and the goal is to compare at the end the 3 assessments they took during using different mediums, and see, at least initially, if there are differences within the data quality collected using Talkbot.
Brian Z asked, maybe you missed it, but did the analysis control for age?
We didn't control for age. Most of our participants were between 21 and 40, and a lot of research says that there is usually no differences within perceptions or preferences of these age group. We didn't have a lot of older adults, so we are doing other study that, as I said, that Harry's leading to get understand perceptions of participants over 60 years old, and even like so those results are still preliminary, but overall participants preferred Talkbot, and definitely we saw some less use, lower scores in PS, as well as some of the other usability metrics compared to younger population, but overall they liked Talkbot. Yeah.
Brandon Welch asked, what's next in this line of research, which you've been talking about. And oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to summarize basically that. Thanks, Brian. So I'm doing the in-person moderated study. We are almost done with the recruitment, and we should be starting to get more results about that soon. Harry's like wrapping up her results. Phase 2, definitely the phase 2 grant, we have some ideas that I've discussed with Alexa based on the outcomes. For example, some significant features for improving patient experiences, such as obtaining signatures, other experience, and even like what our providers, as we are interviewing providers who are adopting Talkbot, we are identifying more requirements from them. So the goal is to just do a few more interviews and understand all these outcomes together. And next month, in September, when we have our Talkbot C-suite meeting, we discuss, we will present, some of the ideas for the phase 2 grant and what should we focus on. So I think that's upcoming in the next month or two. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Brandon?
I'm going to take that as a yes. All right, well, we're 10:30, 10:31. Thank you again, everybody, for coming. It's great to have you all here and talk a little bit about our research. Yeah, hope you all have a great Friday, great weekend, and we'll look forward to next month. We'll be presenting next month soon. Thanks again, everybody.
Bye.